429 with Aliyah Sharif. Welcome to 429, where we talk all things faith, family, business, love, and everything in between. I am your host, Aliyah Sharif. Thanks so much for being here with me today. So, y'all, today we have a special guest. Um, let me get it together because I don't want to mess nothing up. Today's guest is a graduate of Wayne State University, a communications and public relations professional, member of the National Council of Negro Women, the vice president of the Macomb County branch of the NAACP, active member of Zeta Phi Beta, and she just completed a term as the Eta Lambda Zeta chapter's vice president. On the board of trustees for the Anton Art Center, administrative assistant at the St. Paul AME Zion Church in Detroit, 2024 Athena Award nominee. She was also recognized as one of Macomb County's 40 under 40 honorees in November 2024. And among all those things, she is also a wife, a daughter, a sister friend, a cousin, a sister cousin, a dog mom, an avid reader, and so much more. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the show, Mrs. Malea Tipton.
Oh,
Malea, did I leave anything out? Did I get it? Did I get it
you
correct?
got more than I thought you were gonna get. I feel like a bishop. Just sitting back, listening to all his accolades, the guest preacher.
Yes. Okay, we aim to please. But no, on a serious note, again, I said it privately, I'll say it publicly. Thank you again for agreeing to do this. You are officially 429's first guest. So thank you so much for being here today. And of course, some people, when they watch this back, when they listen to this back, they're going to see the last name, hear the last name. And of course, I'm anticipating the questions. Is there a relation? Yes.
Yeah.
The answer is yes. This is family. But we're going to get into that a little bit more a little later on. So welcome to the show. We're happy to have you.
Thank you.
Let's
We're
go
so
ahead and
happy to be here.
so let's jump right in and get to know Mrs. Malea Tipton. So Malea, starting off, I mentioned a few moments ago that you are a communications and public relations professional, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, I really should start off by saying you are a very accomplished young woman, to say the least. That's amazing. So, as a communications and PR professional, first I want to know, what is it about this career field in particular that interested you or that intrigued you?
Well, I actually have all of my education and training in television production. That was actually what I went to Wayne State for, and graduated with my degree in media arts. And I worked in television, a worldwide television network, for about 7 years. Um, and I've always loved communication. I was that kid in school who got good grades, but always got knocked a point because I was talking too much. So that was me. So now I'm happy to say that I have found a career that has allowed me to talk and be creative and just really give people an idea of what a brand is about, and and just have fun.
That's amazing. I love that. And I definitely relate to the talking piece. My mom calls me her little talking head. I just love to talk. But there's a career. There's a career for
Yeah,
people like this. So it's okay.
it's
It's
okay.
all good. And I want to say, you kind of touched on a little bit, but is there anything in particular that you enjoy the most about your career? Anything specifically?
Well, as of right now, I'm no longer working in television. However, I know that I was put here for a purpose, and that one of those purposes, because I feel like you can have more than one, is
Yes.
communication. So I am still in that field, just not in TV production anymore. And right now, I am the communications and PR manager for a nonprofit for a historic estate here in Michigan, the Etzel and Eleanor Ford House. And I handle their PR, the relations, and their website and their social and their branding, as far as just what that looks like. And I love it. I love it. It just allows me to be creative and expansive, and just have some, like I said, just have some fun.
Absolutely. We love
Yeah,
fun. We
me
love it.
too.
So when you first started out in the communications and public relations field, that sector, did you face any challenges? Were there any challenges that come to mind that you faced? And if so, what were those challenges?
So in my 20s, that was when I really did not know where I was going to go. I graduated from Wayne State with this piece of paper that says I know how to produce TV and movies and commercials and things like that. But I'm in Michigan. I'm not in LA. I'm not in New York. I'm in Michigan.
Right.
Like, okay. Um, and I said, what am I going to do? And when I got into the TV industry, I met so many amazing people and I learned the nuts and bolts of what that really means working in television and behind the scenes. And it's not for the weak. Not saying that I'm super strong. It was a lot that I had to learn very quickly. That is a very fast-paced industry, and not just
Mhm.
what you see on television, but the behind the scenes and the personalities and um, being being kind of degraded along the way. And
Yeah.
I had to get some tougher skin. And I remember my very first live show, because we only did live shows 90% of the time,
Mhm.
rather.
Oh,
I got
wow.
a nosebleed because it was just that you got to be on it, like live TV. And it just, you got to be on it. And I said, this is not for me. And then I will never forget the director, who I'm so close to now. He pulled me aside. He said, I am so proud of you, you did amazing tonight. And meanwhile I'm thinking,
Mhm.
oh my god, I did horrible. um and
Yeah,
so that just naturally just comes with challenges when you're doing something new, when you're stepping into new territory. You're scared, you're insecure, you're being compared with the people that maybe came before you that had maybe had more
absolutely.
experience. um and then fast forward, the biggest challenge from that career was me getting sued for $2.5 million from that network. And because of the
Wait,
guy,
wait.
girl, I'm gonna tell
Was
you,
this you? Was they suing the place that
we
I love
killing
the
it, we're
sip.
killing
Were
it.
they suing the place that you work for? Or this was you. They were suing you.
They were suing Malea Howard at the time. This was in 2020. And it was right at the start of the pandemic. They cut everybody's pay.
Oh my
They
goodness.
laid everyone off.
Mhm.
They cut off everyone's health insurance. And at the start of a pandemic, they said no more health insurance for y'all.
Yeah.
We're like, what are you doing?
Wow. Yeah.
Thankfully, I'd already had some side things on, in my back pocket, that I was ready to just pursue those things and leave the network behind. And because again, you're working with people, they got very bitter about that and said, "Oh no, you're not going to leave us and do that." Suing you for $2.5 million of treacherous things, and I mean, just nonsense. But the God
Wow.
that I serve
Ah!
threw that thing out and said, "Get out, okay?" The God
Hey!
after a year of legal fees and all that nonsense and depositions and all this stuff and intimidation, I got police coming to my door serving me. Like, it was all a tactic to get me afraid.
Yeah.
But again, because the God that I serve, that judge said after a year, he said, throw this out. This is
Yeah.
silly. And it
Thank
was
God for
silly. And
that.
I just thank God that I was able to just rid my hands of that. And but that was definitely the biggest challenge, I would say, of my career.
Yeah. Wow. Malia, I did not know that. This is why we're here today. We are getting to
Yeah,
know you. And I think people get so caught up, and I guess because we see the accolades and we see the good and we see people like the glitz and the glam, as I like to say, but we
right,
don't really know people's journey. And I think that's why it's so
right,
important. My mom always says, tell your story. You don't know who you're helping. And the fact too that you walked away, I feel like that's one thing about our generation that I'm seeing a pattern with. If we're not satisfied somewhere in a job or whatever, it's not, we don't think like, generations before us, oh, we're gonna stick it out, I'm gonna work 30 something.
yeah.
No, bruh, if this ain't
And
it, especially being intimidated like that at that level. That's horrific. But thank
Yeah,
God you made it through.
yeah.
I appreciate your transparency
Oh,
in this moment.
look, it's and that's something that I will forever. I always said I'm gonna have my biopic, and somebody's gonna play me. I don't know who it is yet, but that's part of my story. That's part of my
Yes.
story. So yeah.
Well, you kind of answered it, but I'm gonna ask it anyway in case there's something else. I want you to talk to me a little bit about one lesson that your job and your career so far has taught you that you think everyone should learn at some point in their life, whether they're a PR professional or a basketball player or a sanitation worker. What's a lesson that you've learned so far that you think everyone should learn at some point?
Ooh, I would say you need a team. You need a team, and you could be coaching Michael Jordan. You could be coaching the best of the best. You could be CEO, manager, director, blah blah. That's well and good, but if you don't have a team, you cannot do it by yourself. You cannot not do it by yourself. The CEO of McDonald's isn't on fries. The
Right.
CEO of McDonald's isn't cleaning the bathrooms of the McDonald's on McNichol, and that is his team. You know what I'm saying? Like you still have to have people
Yes.
that execute parts of the business and part of the organization. And one thing that I learned, especially working in my career in television, and that really emphasized to me that you cannot do it by yourself. And a lot of
Absolutely.
times, especially with entrepreneurs, I feel like that's a word like narcissist now. Like our generation just throws entrepreneur around
Look.
like literally like it's confetti. Like, can we? Okay, but anyway, but everybody's
No,
an
you onto
entrepreneur.
something there. Yes, you're right.
But we
Cause
throw it. I want to be my own boss. I want to whatever. This is my assistant. It's like, wait a
mm,
minute. They do your books. They manage your website. They schedule your appointments. They help clean
yes,
the office. That's not an assistant. That's that's your CFO. That's your
right. That's your partner.
yeah, that's the one that's up there with you. That's doing the work. And I think sometimes we just have to learn like you need a team, and it's not
Yeah,
always boss workers. It's like you do this, you're great at that. You do
yes,
this, you're great at that. The boss isn't always the one that's great at everything, and that's what I've
absolutely.
learned, that you have to have a team.
I'm glad you said that. I even just going into entrepreneurship, I only been in it for a year, and I'm like, how do people do that? I told my sister, I said, when I finally get this, I'm gonna hire this person. I'm gonna hire. I said, because I need some help, Lord. As they say, teamwork makes the dream work. That is true. So tell me, what else are you passionate about outside of your professional life?
Serving my community. That if you ask anybody, Malea will serve primarily the Black community because that's my community. Okay, I am such an advocate and pusher of my community, of my Black
Yes.
community. I feel like we do so much greatness in the world, but we need to tighten up on a lot of things. And
Amen.
Courtney will say in a minute, he's like, "You looking down from your ivory tower?" I'm like, "No, I want my sisters to hold
Yes.
themselves in a way that's just powerful but yet soft. I want my men to get back in the homes. We can't just be out here just making babies. Like we have to lead our kids, and the men have to like. So I'm an advocate for my community. But my community also as a whole. One thing that I did when I was in that weird transition from leaving the TV network to figuring out what am I supposed to do, I had to ask God, what are the pillars of my life? What just give me and that word just stuck with me, pillar. I don't know why. Not the purpose, but pillars. Um, and I just kept seeing pillars being these big, tall monstrosities that just, are dominant structures. And he told me communication,
Okay.
um, community, and he told me people. Those are the three pillars that I want you to focus on as you go into your career. And community has always been something so passionate from something I've been so passionate about ever since I was a little girl. My mom, she sat on numerous boards in the nonprofit sector, and she exposed me to a lot of things, um, Meals on Wheels and Walk for Warmth and Paint the Town. And I'm, 6-year-old Malea just holding a paintbrush, acting like I'm helping paint a house for someone that, low income. And I'm just, so I saw
That's good.
community outreach growing up, and that was just something that's always stuck with me and continues to do so.
I love it. Malia, I think you took a peek at my questions before the interview. That is a
Uh,
perfect segue into my next question. And I was going to say, if people didn't realize it after reading off your accolades and what you're involved in, you are heavily involved in your community, and it's commendable as we've just heard.
Thank
So
you.
thank you for your involvement. It is
Oh.
very admirable. I love that.
No.
From Zeta Phi Beta to being a
Mhm.
trustee, being a church secretary, and more. You kind of talked about what inspires and motivates you to remain so involved. If there's anything you want to add, please feel free. But I like too that you put a focus on the Black community. I think that's very important. And kind of switching gears here too,
Mhm.
staying with community involvement. We established earlier that you are the vice president of the Macomb County branch of the NAACP. You're also a
Mhm.
member of the National Council of Negro Women. These are two esteemed organizations, as are several of the organizations that we mentioned.
Mhm.
Um, with these two organizations in particular, how has your or what has your experience been like so far?
I'll be completely transparent. The National Council of Negro Women, I actually had to step back from that particular branch due to some internal things. Um,
Understood.
but I am most active with the NAACP Macomb County branch and Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated, the Mount Clemens chapter. Still, three very strong historic organizations in our community. And I will say that as far as my experience with all three, just from a broad perspective, it
Yes.
shows me that we have to not only stick together, but we have to also, like I said, have those tough conversations. Because a lot of times people will say things like, these organizations are irrelevant, right? What has the NAACP done?
Mm.
I don't see them doing that. Sometimes you got to come back and say these organizations made it so that you could go to college as an African
Right.
American male, female, and not get beat up walking through the student center, right?
Right.
These organizations made it so that um, you don't have to sit in the back row of the classroom, even though you've paid just as much money as your white classmate to be there. And just also understanding that these organizations are volunteer based, outside of, let's say, our sororities, because you are my D9 sister.
Yes.
Those are specific sororities. Yes, yes, we
I thought of, yeah, we gotta have
uh,
a moment. I'm
but
sorry.
outside, but let's say like the NAACP, that is a volunteer based organization. So I always tell people, if you don't like the work that we're doing, please, by all means, join the next
Join
membership
us.
meeting, pay
Yes.
your $30 to become a member, to be an official member, get
Yes.
on an executive board and make some changes. But
I love that.
those are those kind of tough conversations that we need to have in these organizations, and just holding each other accountable. But a lot of times, people judge us based off of the work that we do. In the NAACP, I am the vice president. And I will say that I was, along with my team, we were very very intentional on getting our membership, because we were close to being shut down. because we didn't have the amount of members that we were supposed to have. So we went from about
Oh my.
5 members to, as of last night, over 110 ish. So, and that
Yes,
was just within
congratulations.
a year and some change, maybe 2 years max. So, I am happy to say that these organizations do a lot of work. That we have to continue to stay active in our community, but we have to also just not be afraid to have those tough conversations, and and make sure we express to people how relevant we still are. And we shouldn't have to tell our own folks that,
We
but
shouldn't have to, but
you don't know what you don't know. You don't know what you don't know.
absolutely,
Yeah.
Leah. That question was kind of a preface to my next question as well. You mentioned the year 2020 earlier when you were talking about your experience in television.
Mhm.
We're going to go back there for a minute
Okay.
if you're okay with that.
Sure.
But from another perspective, and people watching know if they don't know, 2020 was a year of racial unrest in our country. It was a lot going on that year. That was a tough year. And
Mhm.
during this time, you co-organized a peaceful protest in Macomb County where roughly 200 people took part in a march from City Hall to Shadyside Park.
Yeah.
So I want you, if you don't mind, take me back to that time.
Mm.
Talk to me about what it was like for you to plan and help put something like that together at a time like that.
You know, it was I'm gonna say it was very easy to do. I can't lie. It was very simple to do. And I was kind of taken aback by how simple it was, considering Macomb County is it's still a very red county.
Wow.
In a very conservative county still. And it's they've never had a peaceful protest, in downtown Mount Clemens, which is actually the Macomb County seat. And um, and I just said, this is what we need to do. We need to let the residents of Mount Clemens in Macomb County know that we're aware of the injustice that is happening in this country, and we're aware of this, and we're not just going to let it slide through the cracks, even though it happened. Let's say George Floyd, that happened in Minnesota, but we're still not going to, in small 4 square miles distance Mount Clemens, ignore that because that didn't happen here. No, that was
Right.
still one of our brothers that was killed in broad daylight over nonsense. And we're going to loudly proclaim that he should still be here.
Right.
Um, and my family always calls me Angela Davis, which
Come
possibly
on,
I
Angela.
was actually Angela Davis costume when I was like 7, so I think that stuck with me. But and I had Karens in my own cul-de-sac, literally 4 doors down from my home right now,
Ooh,
that had an issue with my Black Lives Matter poster in my window, and
wow.
I had to go kind of toe to toe with her about why that phrase is so important, especially at that
Right.
time when Black Lives Matter started to be, more and more relevant.
Right.
And so the march itself was not an issue. The Macomb County Sheriff's Department was so accommodating. I said, well, we're not going to be hoodlums about this. We need to show
Right.
the community that we can come together as one, and we can peacefully, and we can unpeacefully too if we gotta go there. But we're gonna start off being peaceful in
Yes.
making sure y'all hear us. And I'm gonna show y'all we can do it so right. We're gonna have the Macomb County Sheriff escort us as we march down the
Yes.
street to Shady Side Park. And that's exactly what happened. And we actually had a white resident unleash their dog on us
1950s and 60s, Lord.
in 2020.
Oh,
And because I had myself, my cousin, Cliff, and some others at the time, and we were leading the charge. We knew how to act, how to react in that situation, and because we were getting escorted by 2 police officers, They made sure they told that gentleman, put your dog up. They are peacefully protesting in the
Right.
streets of Mount Clemens, and they're entitled to do so. And you're not
Right.
going to try to intimidate them. So the whole day was literally, Aliyah, it was just like, wow, this came together. And it was really about sending a message of, if you don't know who these people are, these unarmed individuals, men and women who have had their lives snatched from police brutality, you're about to know them, because
You
we
know 'em
yelled
now.
each and every single one of their names. Tamir Rice, Sandra Bland, George Floyd. We literally named every single one of them as we marched each and every block. So not only did it bring awareness to the cause, but it let people know, especially in this community, we can come together and work together. And it was black, white, Indian, Asian,
Everybody.
old, young, you name it. We all came together in the middle of, in the year of a pandemic,
Yes.
mask on and everything, but we still did it.
Yes. Now, Malia, tell me just your personal opinion, generally speaking. Do you think people today in 2025, so this was 5 years ago, almost 5 years ago. Do you think people still have the same fire and passion for social justice and racial equity that they did back in 2020?
You know, 2020, I will say, really kickstarted a lot of people's um, social justice battery. A lot of people, especially for me, I had never done something so intense as leading a 200-person plus march. That ignited something in me. And I think that people have learned so much since then.
For
Um,
sure.
they want to get involved in their local NAACP chapter. They want to get involved with these historical Black organizations that are actually doing the work, and they're giving their time and their resources to advance these organizations so that they can do the work. So I will say that because there's not maybe such an unrest as maybe it was in 2020, I think though that still ignited a lot of people's fire to support the Black
For sure.
community and its efforts, and making sure that we hopefully don't go in such a backwards direction.
Absolutely.
But you still have people who, if it, like we say in media, if it bleeds, it leads. A
Yep.
lot of people, they only want to get, yeah, when something tragic happens.
Right.
And our job as in the NAACP is to make sure that almost that we're not needed. It's kind of like, if we're needed, if because trust me, we get emails, phone calls left and right. My daughter got beat up by some white girls at her school, and the administration did nothing about it. They
Ooh.
told us to get over it. My son was forced to cut off his locks because they were seen as unacceptable in his school, and so until those phone calls and emails stop, we have to make sure that our fires continue to be lit, because until we need to be extinct, we're gonna we're gonna have to keep that energy going. So I will say that 2020 ignited a lot of people, but you have some folks, if it's nothing popping, no looting that we can do, some people are like, no thank you,
Then
I'm
you
on to
with
the
it.
next one. But we're here and we're doing the work, so
Yes. Now, Malia, going back to a couple of, there's a nomination and an you being honored, an honoree I mentioned earlier. So again, you're a 2024 Athena Award nominee, and you were also recognized as one of Macomb County's 40 under 40 honorees in November, back in a couple months ago,
yeah,
but last year.
yeah.
So first, I want you to, it's two parts here. So talk to me a little bit about these honors and exactly what they are. And then I want you to talk to me a little bit about how it felt for you to be nominated for the 2024 Athena Award and then to be named or honored as one of Macomb County's 40 under 40. Those that for those who don't know, just talk to us about that.
Yeah, well, you did your homework, girl. I will say that. um,
Thank you.
Yes, yes. No, it was a true honor to be nominated for both awards. And both awards are actually stemmed out of the Macomb County Chamber of Commerce. And I want to say that both you do have to be nominated or presented to the board for both. So it's truly an honor. The Athena Awards, I was a nominee, and just to be
Yes.
nominated, was a true blessing. I want to say that that particular award focuses around those that are active in their community as well as business. And so, just being in a room with the other nominees, business owners and teachers and those that just give back and that are so passionate about what they do, and just seeing the different ages and just how they truly just bring out the passion that they have in their career, in their community. It was just an honor to just be in the same room. And then the 40 under 40, this was actually the inception of that award. So I will say that I was the
Wow.
only African American female to get that award, which was amazing. And to just be around so many young people that again
Yeah.
are just passionate about their business and their career. And several of them were nominated by their colleagues. Some of them were nominated by their directors and their CEOs, and so the list goes on. But it was truly an honor.
Yeah. History maker. I love it. Yes.
Yes,
That's amazing though. Seriously, congratulations, Malea.
thank you.
Okay, we're gonna shift gears a
Okay,
bit here.
okay,
So again, among all the other things that I mentioned earlier in the interview
yeah,
and the many hats that you wear, you are also a wife,
I
correct?
am.
Yes. Come on.
Yes,
So for those who don't know, Malea, how long have you been married?
I have been married. Oh gosh, don't make me do the math. I know it was 7 months in November, so maybe like 9 months. I think ish, something like that. I'm gonna go with 8 months.
Somewhere around there.
4 weeks.
So in those last few months, Malea, in the time that you have been married, what is one thing you've learned so far about marriage?
Ooh, I know them old heads that's been married for 30, 40 years. Don't get on me, but that's okay. I'm gonna say it.
It's okay.
I know
Speak your truth.
I'm a
Speak your truth.
newlywed, but I'm gonna say it.
Okay.
Marriage does not have to be hard.
Oh.
And one thing I kept hearing, what's some advice you can give me? What's that? Girl, it's hard, honey. It is hard. And I'm like, I just didn't get that. And so I would ask, I'm gonna ask questions. I'm like, what was hard about it?
Mhm.
Girl, you gotta just put yourself aside, and you gotta just be able to listen, and you gotta be able to trust them. And so I come back with so what were y'all doing when y'all were dating? Like what
Right.
was the shift?
I
Because
don't know.
if you ask me, if you did the dating right, the marriage should just be a
Mm.
continuation. You should y'all
Come
should
on.
y'all should have trusted each other when y'all were dating.
Yeah.
Y'all should have had respect for each other when y'all were dating. Y'all should have had no infidelity when y'all was dating.
Right.
What makes the marriage hard? And trust me, I get it. I'm new at this, and we don't have children. We thankfully our parents are still alive and well. We haven't had to deal
Mhm.
with the loss of a parent or anyone
Mhm.
close to us like that. And I know that brings some. It could bring some issues, but I really feel like when the foundation is right,
Mhm.
life is going to happen, but when the foundation is right, you can
Yeah.
sustain a lot of things. It's only people that's house is built with twigs and sticks and sand that worry when a tornado
Come on.
comes. But baby, when you know you got some bricks and some good cement that hold
Woo!
that house together, you like, all right, y'all, we gonna
Come
go in
on
the
in here,
basement.
Malia.
We gonna still shield and protect ourselves. But we ain't too
Yes.
worried like Joe Blow with like the pigs with the sticks and the hay. We
Yes.
ain't too worried about. our house ain't looking like theirs. So
We
a
good.
nice foundation, that's what I'm so thankful we have. And marriage has taught me that we have a strong foundation.
Come on in here, uh, prophetess Malea, all type of titles. These we gonna add these on.
Okay, yes.
So now tell me, in the past few months since you've been married, has being married taught you about yourself?
Ooh, that I'm just like my mama.
Don't you? We go through this all our life, and it's like
Girl,
I'm girl.
I am just like my mama. Good and bad. Now, mama, know you
Okay,
won't watch this and goodbye. What are you talking about,
yes.
Malea? Good and bad, boo. I'm just saying.
It,
But it's taught me
tell me
that,
in what ways though.
okay, so my mom, my mom, when she, like, when I'll just put on me and her, when me and her have our little spats,
Mm-hmm.
and even when I was a kid, we ignore each other. And I don't know if
Mm-hmm.
that's a woman thing, a girl thing, a mother daughter thing, a black woman thing. I don't know. It's toxic. That's all I know.
Yeah.
But one thing that one thing my husband has taught me, again, even when we were dating, is that oh no, we're
Mhm.
not gonna do that. Like,
Yeah.
you can still hug me. I'm still going to tell you I love you. I'm still gonna call you bae, even when I can't stand you. I'm still going to ask you about your day. I still want you to tell me when you made it to work. We're not gonna do that. And and it's
Right.
not to say that anything that she done, my dad done, or my grandmama that was wrong. It's just that you do what you think is okay, or we have
Mhm.
our own responses to things. And when I really started to understand that it's okay for me to to still connect with my husband, even in the midst of some shaky things, even when I don't even know what to say. And I always say, Courtney is so amazing at this. He, if I don't know what to say, if when you can't get your mind and your heart on the same page, and it's like,
Yes.
what is going on? He's like,
What's
just
going on?
just say stuff. Keep it respectful,
Mhm.
but just say what you what you're trying to say, and then
Yeah.
I'll try to piece it together, and I'll ask you if this is what you meant. And every time he's on
Mm.
the money. So I've learned, just keep talking. Just keep talking, even if you don't know what to say. So
Yes. I love that. And tell Courtney, well, I know he gonna watch it. I'm trying that. Okay. I'm still in that. Because and sometimes I'll get so excited, my words, I start like stuttering.
mhm.
And then sometimes I know what I'm feeling, but I can't articulate. So I'm just, like you said, I'm just gonna start saying
Yep.
things. Even if I'm by myself trying to process something that happened earlier in the day or a conversation,
Right.
I'm definitely gonna use that. So I
Right. And one
appreciate you
thing, and
sharing
one
that.
thing we do as Black women, and even my mom has even said that she does it, is we overthink. And
Ooh,
when
girl.
when they don't when they don't talk maybe as often as they usually do, it's like, what's wrong? What I do?
Yeah.
Or we just overthink. And
Yeah.
one thing I've learned that I will never forget is someone said anxiety and overthinking is just you stressing about something that didn't even happen. Like, what are we stressing about? Or how am I
Mm.
stressing about something that you didn't even say? Like, you know how much energy
Woo.
that takes?
Too much.
And right,
Too much.
right. So, and I think we're all just trying to get better at that.
Yes. And Pastor Murphy just preached about anxiety
Mm,
this past Sunday.
mhm.
My mama mentioned it, and then you're saying it here in this interview. So I think the Lord, I hear you. You trying to get your message across. I hear you. I hear you,
Yeah,
Father. Okay. So thank you for that, for dropping it in my
of
spirit, Malia. I appreciate you.
course.
Now, again, you are successful in your career. You're successful in community involvement. So talk to me a little bit about what are some ways that you maintain a healthy work-life balance. Specifically, how do you maintain your career, being
Mhm.
involved in the community, and also being a wife?
I schedule everything now. If it doesn't go on my calendar, I will forget. Um,
Okay.
and one thing that I think I've literally mastered, I always joke, is that Malia is the only person, me and God, of course, that can be two places at once. I could be Like if we weren't on the video right now, I would just be answering emails for work. I would be doing so many things at one time so that when my husband comes home in an hour, I have my energy for him and I'm not
Right.
taking that precious time doing something else for work. Or if you know, for example, I have to call a client, I'll call them on my way to my nail appointment instead of, you know, waiting until the next day and then hoping I have a free hour. I got
Yeah.
30 minutes that I can call them, check in, and then when I hang up, they're happy, I'm happy, we're done. So I've literally, so some people be like, oh, you know, that's poor time management. I think that's great time management because when I'm
Yeah.
done, I'm done. Um,
That's
and
it.
then also saying no. I've had to get to the point where if
Mm.
I see a client calling me at 10 o'clock and I know you know, if you dying, don't call me. So I know it's not anything like that super serious. But and I'll say like, oh no, that's a tomorrow conversation after I've had my coffee because this is now my
Right.
time that I've shut it off.
Yes.
And just saying no, like, you know, no, I don't have the capacity for that, or, you know, I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to
Yeah.
delegate that and give that to someone else. I just don't have the capacity right now, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. So
Nothing at all.
that's truly helped me. But I will say I've had to go through, you know, working 18-hour days, getting home by
Wow.
11:30, got to get up at 7. I'm taking Tylenol PMs to put me to sleep. I'm
Wow.
drinking espresso in the mornings to wake me up. I did that for about 4 or 5 years. And I just said, this
Wow.
is not healthy. This is not good for my mind, for my spirit, for my body.
Yeah.
I said, I gotta figure out a better way to do this. So
Thank you for sharing
yeah.
that, Malia. I'm sure that a lot of people can resonate with that, especially this day and time. People are working jobs and they have kids and they
Yeah.
running and they're trying to figure out how to balance. So I feel like that's very helpful information. And I like what you said
And
too about saying, yes, go ahead,
and I
please.
was just gonna say, one of my favorite quotes is I have it on my poster board at work. It was on the cover of like a calendar from like 2018. So I still got it.
Mhm.
It says, "Don't worry, I didn't get everything done in one day either. God, and if
Oh,
God, girl, and if God had the nerve and the audacity and the gall to say, nope, that's gonna be a
woo!
Wednesday thing. That's gonna be a day 3 thing. That's gonna be a day."
Come
And
on, come on. Not you preaching in here.
I gotta
Ooh,
remind
yes,
myself sometimes, like, and he rests,
yes.
and he rests. He do
He
not
rested.
disturb.
Yes, he did. A whole day. That's why I say I tell my family now. My mom and my sister know Saturdays, typically Saturdays. That's my self care Saturday. I have my phone on sleep mode the whole day. It's like you said, you
Mm-hmm.
dying, don't call me. Like let me. And if I have something to do like that weekend, I'll switch days. I'll switch out
Yep.
days.
Yep.
And I feel like saying no is a form of self care too.
Mm-hmm.
I'm at the point now in my life where if I don't have to deal with it, I'm not. I will take a step back and not deal with
Yes,
it.
and
So
please cancel the plans. I'm not mad. Are you sad that we have to cancel plans? Girl,
cancel
I am in my onesie as we speak, okay? I got
in
my,
my
I'm in my
bonnet.
onesie.
Oh, okay. I love it. So we're here. We are here.
Yes,
Thank you.
yes.
Thank you. We're almost done. I promise,
No,
Malia.
this
We're
is
gonna take
fun,
up too much more of
girl.
your time. But bringing it back to your husband, you did say his name a couple times, so I'll go ahead and say it in
Yeah.
this next question. When did you know that he was the one for you?
Mm. So when we before we met, because he is from Flint, and he was living in Flint at the time, and I was living in Macomb County in Michigan in Clinton Township, we would FaceTime all the time.
Mhm.
And it was about a few weeks, maybe about a month or so, and you know, we're getting comfortable just talking. We hadn't met yet. And he's I'm about to tell all your business, babe, but it's okay. We family now. So
It's all right. It's
that's
all
okay.
right.
And she know you. She know you.
Yes.
He's dropping. Now we're just talking, just having normal conversation.
Mhm.
He's dropping f bombs and da da da, just f and just f. And I said, said, "You cuss a lot.
Yeah.
Could you like tone it down just a little bit?" And he did. So many
Um,
people would probably either be real insecure after that, real embarrassed, or just
yeah.
go off. How dare you try to tell me? But
Right.
he took my concern, he took my level of comfort, and he made it his own. And he
Yeah.
said, "Wow, like if I really like this girl and I'm trying to impress her or trying to, put on my best effort, I may have to kind of tighten up a little bit." And he did. Now that was about 3 years ago. So but that's okay. I love my baby. That's okay. Baby do your thing. But he did that even in the pre-relationship phase. And
Yeah.
I feel like how someone shows you they will make you feel comfortable, that says a lot about their character. Because, like you said,
Absolutely.
like, we're just in a society where it's all about us, and we gotta, just it's us, us, us. But for someone to go out of their way to make you feel comfortable, that's a big thing.
I think so too,
Yeah.
and I'm so glad you shared that.
Yeah.
Courtney, it's gonna be all right. I kind of, I'm glad you said that. When you said the F bomb, I cracked up. It does feel good letting them go every now and then.
Yeah.
Now I try to do better myself. I just gotta
But the thing
get it
is,
out.
I cuss. I just don't cuss. Like, people like, ew, like, don't do that. Like, I
Like,
try to, people I get mad, but it just doesn't come out right. Like, people like, don't do that. So, trust me,
I know that.
I'm no saint, no nothing. I love me a little ratchet rap every now and then. But it was just
Yes.
like, dang, like, that's like intense. So, but
I love that. I love it, Malea. Thank you for sharing that.
of
You are
course.
funny. And now, so real quick,
Mhm.
give me, if you can, it doesn't have to be like a sentence or anything, just out out the blue, 5 words that describe your spouse, 5 words that describe Courtney.
Ooh, understanding, number one. Hilarious. My goodness, I tell him all the time, I'm gonna live to be 1,000 years old because I laugh, and you just, oh my goodness. So, definitely hilarious. Faithful. He is a God fearing man through and through, and he doesn't try to thump the Bible over your head. He has his own relationship with the Lord, and it's so
Love that.
commendable. And I'm just in awe of it. Intelligent. This man, number one, this man has the memory of like a freaking elephant. Like, I'll say, that's my friend's story, and I didn't even remember that about their situation. How do you remember that?
How
And
you know?
he's just so intelligent and just so smart. And then lastly, um, I would say he's a visionary. He is always
Mhm.
looking at what our 5 years is gonna look like, our 10 year, and we're already talking about like retirement plans. And he's doing things that a lot of
Woo.
people don't focus on until their 50s and 60s and 70s. We're talking about it in our mid 30s. And he's including me in those things. And he's like, yeah, we're gonna do this into the stocks and I just be looking like, okay, I have no idea what you're talking about. Well, okay, I got you. So he's a visionary. So
I
those would
love
be
it.
my five for my husband.
Those are beautiful. And we're getting
Yay.
ready to close. I'm learning so much about you, and I'm
Oh,
sure our viewers are at this point too. So I'm appreciative. But based on all we've discussed today and all of your accolades, and based on where you're at right now in your life, what advice would you give to your younger self?
whew. Find love in yourself before you
Mm,
try to force someone else to love you. Find it in
amen.
yourself and allow God to work through you. Um, and just build that relationship with God. Build it now. Build it now.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. I'm sitting here taking this in as well, like you talk because you are talking to me, but I'm saying like,
Yes.
that's great advice. You are a woman of faith. We've kind of established that already. What role has your faith played in your journey personally and professionally?
Um, I have had I've had situations, one situation in particular, a personal situation that I endured that could have really psychologically um, taken me all over the place, right? And one thing that, I talked to God about it, and He just said, I just kept hearing Him say, even to this day, I keep, I kept just hearing Him say, "Don't worry, vengeance is mine. I got it,"
Mm,
and that's it. And for that situation, for Him to say that to me about that, that gave me so much peace. So, from a personal standpoint, my faith has just allowed me to see God as my daddy. That
mm,
literally, like, I got it. Don't even worry about it. But I got it. Just go on to sleep. I got it taken care of. And whatever that means, that's not me. That's not for me to know. That's not
right.
my responsibility to know or to even care because Daddy's got it, right?
Absolutely.
And
Yes.
then professionally, it's so funny. Me and my colleague were talking about this. It can be difficult as you're working with just people from different walks of life, different
Mm,
experiences, different beliefs, different backgrounds. It can be sometimes be difficult to advocate for your beliefs and your faith
yeah.
because some people feel if you're a Christian, you're going to tell me I'm going to hell, you're going to throw holy oil on me, and you're going to just, so sometimes we kind of cover up our faith because we
Yeah.
don't want to be seen as those kind of Christians, right?
Right.
But that's in a sense being ashamed of our faith and being ashamed of what we believe. And I'm just at the point now, I'm not hiding or camouflaging my belief to
Mm-mm.
make anyone else feel comfortable. Now, am I going to go around boasting and bragging and da, da, da? No, because our God, Jesus
Right.
wasn't that. Jesus wasn't that.
Mm-mm.
So, but am I going to say, "Oh yeah, I'm a Christian. I love the Lord. I follow Jesus
Mm.
religiously." Like, yeah, but
Yeah.
I will say that it can sometimes be a challenge when you're working with different kinds of people and things come up and it can be a little uncomfortable when they talk about Christians or they talk about people who love Jesus and them Jesus freaks. Like, hello, I'm standing right here. That's
Right.
but don't I know it's like uh but don't allow society to make you shift, or code switch your faith. We
Right.
should not be code switching our faith by no means to make someone else comfortable or to just go with the flow and not rock the boat. Mm-mm. You stand
Right.
firm on what you believe and you let that be what keeps you going.
Amen. Thank you, prophetess. I mean, Mrs. Tipton.
Ah,
So before I'm talking. You coming with? Look, I
look,
am blessed over here. I am. You have no. Girl, come on.
man.
So before we close, tell everyone where to find you online if you feel comfortable. Do you have an
Yes,
Instagram website?
yes.
But yeah, shout yourself out real quick, please.
Well, if you are looking for any type of digital marketing, branding, PR consultations, or need help building a website, just want to get some ideas on how you can boost your social engagement and digital footprint, you can visit mediaandpearls.com and you can shoot me a message there. You can find me on Facebook at Malea Tipton. You can follow me on Instagram at Distinct Lady. And I also have a Bookstagram because I am a bookish girly. I love my books. You can follow my book page and on TikTok, Espresso and Chapters.
Yes. Do you have any final thoughts before we sign off?
Um, just whoever needs to hear this, I don't know who needs to hear this. You got it. You got it. Don't overthink it.
Yes.
You have a purpose. And one thing that I will say is if you're concerned or don't know what your purpose is, consider this. Think about what you do for fun and think about how you can get paid to do that. And that way
Mm,
you will never have to feel like you're working. You will never dread a Monday if you do
never.
what you love to do. So, and feel
Yes.
free to reach
Thank
out if y'all
you.
got any questions, of course.
Well, prophetess, I mean, Mrs. Tipton has spoken, y'all.
I'll be
Thank you
selling my
again
holy
for
oil and my
joining.
lap scarves. So look out for those
Yes.
too.
We're gonna promote that too.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Yes, Lord. She has spoken, y'all. Malea, thank you again for joining me
Thank
and
you
for
for
being
having
a
me. Thank
429
you.
official guest again. Um, for all the viewers, thank y'all for watching. I will see y'all soon. Until then, take care of yourselves and take care of each other. Bye.